Obviously, I'm told that when people are negotiating, now we're talking business. Now, when I'm talking negotiation now, I keep repeating, I'm not talking about that Afghanistan guy who wants to blow people up. I'm not talking about the guy suffering from drug overdose and having issues. I'm talking about normal guys like you and I who come in, we are doing business, we are regular guys, right? But we have a negotiation to do, which is what most people listening to us will have to deal with. I know that with those occasional ones who may have some personal issues and all that, that will benefit greatly from what you are saying, but the overwhelming majority, I will hope so, who watch me are people who are normal guys who are just trying to make the next buck, right? So I want us to discuss the impact of body language and non-verbal cues in negotiations and how individuals can leverage them effectively. Because I hear that those are very telling. There's a way you can use that to your advantage when you're negotiating and all that. Your own experience, because obviously you must have gone through this as part of your training, part of what to teach people. I want to know about it. What is the impact of body language and non-verbal cues in negotiations, and how can individuals leverage them effectively to come up with a better negotiation? Go.
That's an excellent question. Here it is. When I was talking earlier about the importance of listening, to actively listening to words, the importance of listening also requires you to listen with the eyes. What do I mean by that? Is that we are taking snapshots of the person that we're negotiating with. And we may do that consciously or unconsciously, but we should make it a conscious endeavor to watch how it is that they are interacting with us, how it is that they are responding to us, and whatever it is. What we must be looking for are any changes in body language. So, for example, if we're talking about an important thing, and we all of a sudden we notice that I've said something. I've said, well, we're going to move forward next week, and then all of a sudden I see the person going. Now that's a change in body language, and a lot of people would ignore this change, this sudden change, because we've seen that normally they're listening, they're leaning in, and they're interested, and all of a sudden we're going to start next week, and they go, and they're looking away. Well, that is what I call a white elephant. That is something that we need to address right at the moment. There's a change in body language that requires us to take immediate action and to stop the negotiation and say something like, I just noticed that your body language changed a little bit, that you look a little bit concerned. So identify the emotion that you have seen within the negotiation. That's really important. What emotion is he or she feeling, and how can I bring that emotion out? The only way you can do that is by recognizing it and addressing it immediately. It is an emotion. And so let's watch body language. And the way that we can use body language is to really mimic body language in many ways. So, for example, if you watch two people who are in love at a cafe and they're having coffee, many of them are leaning in and they're leaning towards each other, and that's natural. There's an attraction there. They're natural. So if you're sitting across from someone as an entrepreneur, as a business person, and you see the person doing one of these, then you may want to mimic that and do the same thing. You don't have to do it exactly. You don't want to do it exactly, but you want to do it in a very similar fashion because you are really responding to the body language that you're getting. Body language and tone of voice, any type of interruption, all three channels of communication have to be working together. For example, your words have to really identify with how your body is speaking and the tone of your voice. So in my own personal experience, when I was an interrogator, a professional interrogator, if somebody were to have their arms crossed like this, and I was to say, did you steal that money? No. Well, what's in that no? It's not an affirmative no. The body language is still closed. Not all three channels of communication are open. I've noticed that it's not meshing together. if I were to say, did you steal that money? That person should be, I didn't do it. No, it wasn't me. So you can hear the difference. You can hear their words being assertive. You can hear their body language being assertive and the tone of their voice being assertive. So the impact of our body language and nonverbal cues sends a message to the receiver. We all want to protect ourselves. This is our primitive brain. And we're looking for those differences that may shout out, there's a danger here, or there's something wrong with this picture. Imagine that you're surrounded by a bunch of people, and all of a sudden you become very uncomfortable. Like, I think they mean me harm. That's right. That's your primitive brain saying, look at their body language. Look at them. Look at the eyes. There's something in the eye. There's something wrong here. Listen to that and get the heck out. How do we use this in our business? We pay attention to what people are saying. We pay attention to their tone of voice, and we pay attention to their body language. You can tell a lot from a person in their body language. It could be their eyes. There's what we call micro expressions. And you might say something, and all of a sudden that expression goes from this to. And there, in that instant, that moment, there was a change, and you have to focus in on that change to see what it was that you said that may have instigated that change of fear, anger, whatever it is. Be aware of the body language. The body language will trump the spoken word every time. Doesn't matter if I say, yes, I'll go through that deal with you, and my body language is going, yes, I'll go through that deal with you. And all of a sudden I'm doing this. Well, guess what? My body language is saying I'm not going to do that. So the body language will trump the spoken word 100% of the time. Be aware of where their feet are. You know, something as simple as looking where a person's, you're standing in a room, right? You're at a party. You're standing in a room and you're standing in front of somebody. Glance down at their feet. Where are their feet positioned? Are they in line with yours, face to face, or are they pointed towards the door? And this is funny. A lot of people don't think of that, but I look at people's feet when I'm talking with them. And if their feet are pointed towards the door, that indicates to me they're not interested in what I have to say. They're looking to head out the door as soon as they can.
Wait, their feet pointed towards the door is a clue. Interesting.
Yes.
My feet is not pointed to the door now, it's pointed straight. What does that mean?
That means that we're engaged. We're really interested in what each other has to say. And so we're sealed. Yes, exactly. But if my feet are pointed towards the door, or if my foot is tapping, then that indicates I'm nervous. That indicates that I'm not interested. I'm anxious, whatever it is. Every little bit of us. When a person lies, for example, it's funny. We can't always control our body language. When a person lies, we do a lot of different things. So if you're watching somebody, you're talking, and they're saying, well, you know, I didn't do that, and it's been my experience that, you know what, or they might be picking lint off their shirt, and this is their body's way of saying, get out of here. You're under control. You're not in control. You're being attacked. You're going to give yourself up. You're going to say something that's going to incriminate you. So these are little indicators, the rubbing of the nose, the itchiness. That is, I'm uncomfortable. This is my body's fight or flight that's jumping in that says, get out of here. This is danger. And if you stay here, you will likely confess to what it is they're asking you. And so these are our body's ways of really overreacting to what's being said, and we can't control that. Or, for example, somebody goes, yeah, you know what? No, I didn't steal that money, officer. Why would I do something like that? Well, would you answer a question like that? Would you overextend? I didn't steal.
No,
that would be like, why?
Is that why my wife doesn't believe anything I say? Because I'm always stretching when I want to answer. When she asks me a tough question, I have to stretch. Is that why? You think maybe somebody thought
that's an indicator that you don't want to. That's an indicator that you probably. Yeah. Now, okay. Now here's where I'm going to caution people. If Dr. Ope does this normally in any situation that he's involved in, if this is what's called his homeostasis, that he's always doing this is just his comfortable way of being. It's like this, I'm so comfortable, I do this all the time. If that's his ordinary way of doing things, if under stress, not under stress, whatever, if that's his ordinary thing, I can't say that that's a lie, or that's deception, or that's avoidance. I can't say that. And not
okay, my wife has to hear this. My wife has to hear this. Okay, because I do this all the time. It's my normal way. Paul said it. I'm going to tell her, I'm not trying to be funny. This is how I rock, right?
Yeah.
Seriously,
that's how you rock.
When we are discussing, I'm like this. But though, when I'm starting to up, I do like this also. When I'm starting to get a bit upset at your team, I do like this. So it's a bad cue, right?
Well, in most situations, it would be, because not too many people do that. Not too many people do that. You do. And I cross my arms. I cross my arms a lot of times because it's comfortable for me. But that's not an indicator that I'm lying. It's an indicator that I'm comfortable normally. Now, it depends on the circumstances. What am I talking about? And when do I do it? If I'm like when I was an interrogator in the polygraph, and I would be talking to somebody and they were leaning in and they were listening to my stories, and then all of a sudden I said, well, you know what? That's great, John. I'm so glad that we got this, the opportunity to talk, and I got to know quite a bit about you. Now I want to talk about what you're here for. Did you kill Mary Smith? And then all of a sudden they go, sure. No, I didn't. I didn't do that. I liked Mary. I would never ever kill her. Well, you see, there's where that happened. It happened as a body response. The body said, "Oh, you're in danger now. This is not something you want to talk about," and we protect our heart by crossing our arms over our heart. And
Paul, let's be real. If a white guy, we're joking right now, we're talking, okay? And then the white guy all of a sudden says, okay, let's come for what you are here for. Did you kill Mary Smith? Seriously? You don't expect the guy to move back, to fold his arms, to get in a defensive position? Are you kidding me? Every normal human being, forget it's even a white guy to a black guy, even white guy to white guy. You just change him. We are here greeting each other about our wives, right? All of a sudden you say, okay, let's talk about why you are here. Did you kill? Now, as a matter of fact, if I'm the investigator and I throw that question out, and the guy remains in the same posture he was in when we were joking, then I'm going to know it's a psychopath. Okay? That is a sociopath right there. In other words, if he's still smiling, I'm smiling at you right now. Okay? We're having fun. All of a sudden you say, did you kill Mary Smith? And I'm still smiling. I must be a sociopath. Because when you say that, all of a sudden we are no longer playing. The tendency is for whether the person is guilty or not, you move back. When I got stopped by a police officer, okay, I was sure I wasn't speeding. I don't know why the police officer stopped me. So he came to me, this is many years ago. He came to my window. And then he saw the way I was dressed. I was going to work. I was obviously dressed as then I was still going to court. I was dressed like a lawyer going to court. So he asked me for my driver's license. Obviously, he knew me. Apparently, I didn't know that the man knew me well. Okay? Now, he asked for my driver's license. Then he asked about my wife. He asked about my daughter. That was the year that my daughter was the first black person to be Miss Nebraska when she was 16. Miss Nebraska teenager, my daughter was the first black person to win that, and we're very proud of her. So apparently they were there. And I was going crazy when my daughter won, the way Nigeria people do it. I was going crazy in the hall and all that. So he's noticed me, that he knows me. So now he took my stuff. He checked it. We were all smiling. He asked about my daughter. He asked about me. It's Omaha, Nebraska. It's not like it's that big. Now, the next thing the guy threw at me was like, are you sure this car is yours? When he said that, I moved on my seat, literally. And I'm like, this MF is about to shoot me. It's what first crossed in my head. Because it's on from where we are to where we are discussing. I couldn't relate it. Then it turned out
Okay.
that he stopped me because I didn't have plate numbers. My plate number at the back of my car. I didn't put it on. I'm nasty like that. My wife keeps telling me you're going to get in trouble one day, but I didn't remember that. My plate is always in the front, in my glove compartment. To take it out and screw it in is always a problem for me. So he stopped me. So when he used that word, if he had said, oh, you don't have plate numbers at the back of your car, I wouldn't have changed position. Okay, I wouldn't have felt something bad is about to come. But the man said, are you sure you are the owner of this car? From, is your beautiful daughter. Are you kidding me? If I had stayed the same way, you should know I'm a sociopath. Because the thing just changed. We are no longer talking about Topi anymore. We talk about my life now as a car theft, as a car thief. You expect the person to still maintain position. No, I don't think so. But over to you. So,
No.
Yeah, you would think they're guilty? Is that what you're telling me?
No, let me clarify this. Remember earlier I said all three channels of communication must be working together. If I'm sitting with you, and I could give you a masterclass on this, but it wouldn't be in the context of an hour or two. What I'm saying is
we're even running out of time, so you got 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay, got 2 minutes. Let me explain this. Is that when I was talking to him and we had spent some time together, and then I said, did you kill Mary Smith? And I saw him move back. That's normal. Sure. It's like, wow, now it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
However, if I then, because I can't say for certainty that he's lying or that he did it just based on one thing that I see. But if I then see his arms cross, his head move away from me, his eyes move down, and his voice go, no, why would I do something like that? It signifies to me that there's so much behind all those actions. It's not just crossing the arms. It's not just moving the head away. I'm sure that you didn't do all those things. You probably moved back, but you were very interested in proving that you are doing everything right. You're not going to shut down from me using all these things. Is your voice, are the words you're using, is the tone of voice one that I believe or that I don't believe? Is the body language one that I believe or don't believe? Are the head motions one that I believe or don't believe? Are they working together? I can say, if somebody asked me, Paul, did you kill that person? I'd go, no, I didn't do that. And you see that there's a difference in my tone of voice. I'm taken aback, but I'm going to defend myself because I didn't do it. But if I'm watching all these components come together in conjunction, then I'm going to be curious. Am I going to sell the farm based on all those? No, but it indicates to me that there is something behind those answers that need further discussion.
Investigation. Okay, fair enough. I think